First Star Center, now back. And that is the ballpark, if I can see it through the sun. Has a scoreboard. Cool. It's a brand new ballpark. It's already rusting. We're going on tour. We're in the blue. See if they're packing up.
Ryan, let me see what that says.
I know it's beautiful, huh? That's hot. Don't sit down. Dollar.
Let's write this game down.
Don, he's down there.
I was like, how easy is it?
I'm just very curious. That's not some dank. That's disgusting.
Carrying on your head.
June 20th. Not real current information.
Yeah.
To make a phone call.
Physics tank. As long as it's clean with spider webs. Stadium's falling apart.
Make yourself comfortable in here. This might be the only time you ever make yourself comfortable. Imagine yourself. You're gonna be up and out here in a couple of minutes. Kind of sit down a little bit, move around like this a little bit. Like you're sitting right where Johnny Bench sits. Johnny Bench, good looking guy. Johnny Bench. Umpire. We do games, the organizations I work for, I get games from 5 different designers. We do high school games, college baseball, volleyball. We even have a group of our guys. We have a group of our guys that do some of the lower independent minor league games. Frontier league games. Not much. If you're looking for a career change, this ain't it. I recently retired from the city of Cincinnati, and I've done about 80 games this year. I'll probably finish the year with 120 or so. There are people that do a lot more games than that. I like money, so I've been working for the city of Cincinnati for 30 years. Putting up with yo-yos and didn't know what was going on, and all that kind of stuff. All you people got jobs. The umpires are on the field all the time. They don't get breaks. Years ago, if you went to a major league game, you saw an umpire never leave the field. He never walked to a dugout and got a drink. If he needed a drink, he waved at somebody. They brought it out to him. He couldn't go over and stand in the shade between innings because it was so hot out here because it didn't look right. The umpire had to be in his position. All that stuff has changed now. They relaxed all those rules, rules down to give a break because there's a health issue here. If I'm standing out there at dark blue and it's 120 or 130, which it could be on the old turf out there,
No, it's here. I'm on camera talking to you on the phone. I'm in the dugout. Okay. We're very close. Hey, Garrett.
This mound doesn't
Hey,
look like it's
I just walked out of the dugout and I'm standing 10 feet behind home plate.
No.
This is cool.
Remember that Silverhawks game?
Yeah, I just looked down into, you know, the steps that go down to the clubhouse in the dugout. God, it is nasty. It's so nasty down there. And then we can't hear these guys talking because they're freaking jackhammering over at the new park. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I'm recording right now, so you're gonna hear me on the videotape later. Yeah, but it's cool. Just thought I'd call you and tell you I'm standing about 10 feet behind home plate. No, they got those blue railings up surrounding the grass. We just had the umpire talk in the dugout. Now we're getting the grounds crew talk behind home plate. Ready to walk into the tunnel directly behind home plate. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, and they got the. I managed to take a picture of everyone's extension.
Real sharp. And what it is, if you imagine my fingers as blades of grass coming down through here, the reels just are spinning. As the reels come by, it comes real close and grabs those things of grass, blades of grass, pulls them back, pushes them against that bed knife, and slices it off. That's how it cuts. It's like a scissor action. You know, when two pieces of metal slide right by each other, it slices those black grass blades. It makes a nice clean cut, which is good for the turf. You don't want to rip it or damage it. There's vascular bundles up in those leaves, and if you tear on it, it's tough on it. It doesn't look too good. But we'll move next door here. I just spent all this time telling you how great that old technology is at mowing. So now I'm going to show you that our infield. Do you mow the yard? You do? So you can. Well, I got to mow the yard when I'm done. Are you going to do it for me? No?
I will.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
To cut the designs in the outfields like they do it, use the same mower?
Yeah, we use this. I forgot to mention that. There's rollers behind those reels. There's rollers that put weight down, and what it does when you go the one direction, you take those grass blades all lay one way, and when you turn around and come the other way, the grass blades all come the other way, so you're looking at it from a different angle, and you get light, dark, light, dark, light, dark all the way across. And it's those rollers on the back.
Well, what about like in Boston where they have the Red Sox and
Yeah,
City and
yeah, that's a
same way?
I went to school. I didn't go to school with him. We went to the same program that I did, but yeah, it's the same thing. It just takes a lot of planning.
Yeah.
You can look at it, and you can see where he kind of keeps coming back around and comes back down. Like if it's dark, he all went one direction, and then he'll come back around. So, what he did out there is he had a couple high school fields that he worked with, and he took equipment out there and worked on it for a couple weeks, just kind of planned on what he would do, and he had some trial and error, and then when he finally had it where he wanted it, he went back to the big league field and did it. So,
Do you plan on doing that to the new stadium?
No, we can do it. We've done some more elaborate designs, but we're kind of the opinion, and the management's kind of the just your basic, maybe checkerboard pattern or just straight lines. We don't try to get too fancy, We got we'll let the baseball team speak for themselves. Please? Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, but. And that's the thing, when you're talking about the stripes in the field, the thing is, I just told you how great a mower this is and how good it is and healthy it is on the grass, but why are we using this? The reason is, we anticipated using this reel mower here to mow the infield. It makes a little smaller stripe, a little smaller path, but it looks a good contrast with the outfield. But the Reds came to us, the management, the coaching staff, and the players, and told us that they wanted to have they wanted the infield to be mowed a little higher so it would slow the ball down as it was coming through and give the infielders a little bit more time to react to ground balls coming through there and whatnot. So, unfortunately, this mower only mows up to about 1 3/4 is its limit on height. And they wanted it about 2 1/4. So we have to first mow with this to get the right height and then come behind it with this mower, which has got a big roller in here that puts those stripes on it there. So, yes, please?
Right there.
Yeah, that big roller right there. You take these tires off of it, and that thing just rests, and that's what drives the mower on the grass. And it, like I said, puts those stripes in the field. So that's why we use this. We prefer to use this, but the Reds want their grass mowed taller. But we keep this blade pretty sharp. It's not quite as healthy for it, or doesn't do quite as good a job as a real mower would do, but we sharpen our mower blades about every 5 hours of use, which is pretty frequent. So just keep the blade sharp, you'll have pretty good luck with it. For every homestand, we'll we'll go out and we'll put nails or pins out down the base lines. We have certain spots we measure off these reference points. And then we'll run a string from those pins, and then we'll take this edge, and all it really has is like a mini vertical mower blade on there. And you just run right down that string that you put between those two pins, and you make a nice crisp line. And then once you do that, you take the string up, and you take this little tool, and it's called a loop hoe, and it's got a blade on each side of it, and you put it down in the dirt and just go back and forth along that line you just edged, and you get a nice crisp, perfect line, getting rid of that old, please? Yeah, it takes a lot of effort, but we got a big staff, and this is, it's a professional baseball team, so we got the manpower to do things like that to make it perfect that you might not have at a smaller baseball field like a minor league park or a high school field. This here is our spray. We spray paint an arc around the back of the plate. It's just, you've probably seen these before, I'm sure. It's just a spray can that works upside down, and you just go around the edge of the grass, and when you're done with it, you go a nice circle around the back of the plate. Just as we got that. I'll get the baselines later. You'll see those in a minute. This here is just your standard fertilizer spreader. You guys probably have one of these at your house. We use it for fertilizer, insect control, weed control, things like that. Anything we need distributed evenly across the ways. But what's in this, and you guys are welcome to come up here and look at this and take some with you if you want. It's called calcite clay, and it's a clay that's mined in Georgia, and they take it and put it in a kiln and fire it at like 3,000 degrees for several hours. And when it comes out, it's all crumbly like this and brittle and porous, and those pores will absorb up water, and this is what we use when you see us out there during a rain situation. We're putting this down, and it soaks up the water, allows us to play in situations where we might not normally be able to. So then we also have a layer of this on the infield at all times, and what that does is like an insulation barrier, allows us to keep the dirt infield moist underneath, but it's still kind of dry on top, so the players aren't have to go through mud holes and stuff. You have a question? You know? You raised your hand? We got here, this is just some sand. You're probably not, this is just sand, anything special. The reason I put it out here though is just to show you what our field's been growing in. We don't have what you would call dirt or a native soil. We grow our grass in a 100% sand root zone for percolation purposes. It allows our field to handle about 10 inches of water per hour, as opposed to your home lawn or any native soil will probably take about a half an inch to 1 inch per hour. So when we get into a rain situation, the water moves through it and into the drainage tile pretty quickly, and allows us to play games that a high school field or native soil field wouldn't be able to do.
How much sand is there?
Please?
How much sand is
6 inches, and typically they recommend 12 inches, but the Reds knew coming in, and the contractor knew coming in, that this was a temporary field, and when you're able to cut the sand cost in half by doing 6 inches, it just was the right thing to do. There was no point when we knew the soil was going to be here for 2 years.
Where's the drain tile?
Please?
Where's your drain tile?
There's a big catch basin out in right field that goes through a filtering process before it goes to the river. So the drain tile is not very extensive here. There's one main that runs right down the middle of the field, and I think there's like 3 laterals off of it. The new field will have an extensive drainage system that's developed for a baseball field with extra drainage installed in behind the outfield, behind the dirt skin where we dump the tarp and stuff to help handle that a lot better. And like I said, this is a temporary field, and we just kind of threw it together in a matter of a couple months.
So the grass grows directly on the sand?
Yep, grows right into sand. We gotta fertilize it pretty frequently. Typically, we spoon feed it fertilizer and water. It's like we give it what it needs when it needs it. Typically a home lawn situation, you'll fertilize your yard maybe 3 times a year. They always say there's the holiday method. You do it Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day, and you'll have a pretty healthy lawn. But we'll probably fertilize 8 times a year. But the thing is, we just use a lot lower rates. We just go out there and are constantly giving it sand, giving it nitrogen and other nutrients, because the sand doesn't hold on to anything. It all leaches through pretty quickly. So we have to spoon feed everything. So this here material, it's really starting to get beat up now because it's out in the sun, but this is what we patch our home plate and the pitcher's mound with. It's a packing clay, very high content of clay, very similar to what that calcite clay would look like before it was fired. But what this is for is when they dig a hole in the pitcher's mound and in the landing area and in the batter's boxes, we come out and at the end of the game we sweep off any loose material that might be in the way, and then we take that, get a little bit of water, put a pile of this in it, take this tamp here and stamp it down tight and smooth, and then they got a brand new, the plate's brand new like it came every time. So
is this the same stuff they used when they had the transfer from football to baseball?
No, they used a different material. Actually, it was just standard dirt that you would, actually it was mined at a cemetery. They would take, get it from there. So this is a little more high tech than that. Not that dirt can really be high tech, but it's, it'll handle water a little bit better than that stuff was.
You guys ever tell them if they want it the same, to quit digging them holes?
Yeah. No, that's just part of my job security. I got a job to do every morning when I come in, is fix those holes. So they can keep digging them all they want. Pulling the plugs out, taking air fine holes out, and then backfilling that with sand. So over the course of time, you're eliminating this side and just having sand down. Last thing I got for you guys, it's been grown since last May, so it's really mature right now. We had a slight infestation of Poa Anna, which is a weed, an annual bluegrass. It's very similar to this, but it's not as pretty. It's lighter green. It's kind of lime green. We've taken care of that.
Saltground Stadium.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they're going to have the solid ball. See how it goes. And I guess I want to show you this too. This is what we chalk our batter's boxes with. We kind of line this up with a plate. You put this down and you leave a little trough. And then we just take a good old-fashioned coffee can with some holes in the bottom of it. Just sprinkle it down on there, and you got your nice batter's boxes in. It does the base pass too. We have another apparatus just long, and that's how we do our base pass, or base lines too. That's all I got.
What's the problem with the screens when they do the fields? It's like they never take the ones.
Oh, when they drag them? Right. We got a bad bunch of those things. They're real heavy. They got better ones on the market now.
You're going to go through
Yeah.
because of the one that keeps sticking in here.
They even started the YMCA.
Oh, yeah?
It goes from here.
Is that terrible? Yeah, oh really?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, because see, we're getting them from the
Yeah,
kids
we're
every
getting
year.
some new. We'll probably have something
And
like
then the
that.
ones going over there at night. So the speaker is in here. It's for the weather.
Oh, cool. Okay. That's cool. It's the moving one. I just wonder where they do those. You used to do those interviews after like they won the division in '90. They did them back here somewhere. Just know where the hell they did.
yourself looking at these are the bad cages. You may have noticed as you walk in from the field.
You gotta be kidding me.
Outlines the batting practice schedule for the Reds and the visiting team.
Oh,
Every day of the game, both teams will take batting practice on the field. But then also, a lot of players will want to get extra work. The time on the field is limited. Each team has about 40 minutes. And, you know, obviously only one guy at a time can stand at the plate and hit. So what the cages will do is allow for any players that want to come in either before or after batting practice on the field to get more work in on their swing, where they can get more swings in a short period of time. They may have a coach pitch to them, they may work by themselves off the tee, some pitching machines that they can use, and they'll be able to get extra batting practice in. Also during the game, if a player maybe going to be asked to pitch hit, they've been sitting around since the beginning of the game, and he's not, you know, as loose as he was when the game started, he can come back in here during the game and get some swings in, get ready to go up and pitch hit. And then you also do the mound down here. If it's raining, if a pitcher needs to get some bullpen work in, and the bullpens aren't available, you can do that here. Or if they a hitter he needs to. That works well for him. And you'll see a lot of the pitching machines, where a lot of the players will use those more to hit curveballs. Why there's something that's difficult to replicate is batting practice. They can stand in there and get 30 or 40 or 50 or how many they want. Yeah, both teams for the Reds are out on the field, the other people come in. I don't think it's available for the visiting team during the game. Or if the weather's bad and they can't take batting practice on the field, both teams will get time in here. So if anybody's got questions, if you do, I'll answer. If you don't, I know you're going
There's Booty. Right there. Casey.
Dunn's got my ball with it and I didn't get that.
You gotta be kidding me.
Good, scoot back a little bit.
Oh, sorry, bud.
This locker here used to be Pete Rose's locker. That was Pete's and Morgan's and Perez.
How about
The only thing that's changed is the players.
That's right.
And Casey has 2 lockers.
That's what you get for $6 million, right?
Yeah.
Turn around.
why does he have 2 lockers?
He's got all these extra uniforms. He sweats a lot on the road.
Okay. I'll buy that.
Sean Casey.
Walter's got a Fonzie in there.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. Okay, that's fine. Well, I'm in the dugout, or I'm in the locker room right now. While you're breaking up, I'll call you back. But, okay, bye.
You look at everything, but don't touch anything.
Wait from me. Catcher. Catcher, you're down the ditch. That's the catcher. Yeah, because look. I know. One has all the time.
didn't see those yet. Must be down this way.
Kelly Smith got all his stuff here, and he's where?
Elmer just said.
Everybody's got a
Here's by it ought to be in Louisville. Jason Rue. You're Jason? Your name is Jason?
That's the reason we got the rope. I started handing it out.
And Jimmy Haynes is preparing to get traded. Doesn't have anything in his locker.
That's just a regular bat.
That's the way LaRue's locker out of
Sweet smile. Sweet smile.
We didn't used to have the ropes up, and then they got too much stuff missing.
How come Stinet's stuff is still here? He's in Louisville, isn't he?
So?
He's on a rehab.
Well, yeah, but if you're on,
he's still on the roster.
What are all these cans for?
That's not right.
That's a big food.
There's sand.
Yeah.
There's sand on it.
Good
See
boy.
that one better. See it. See the back in it.
Yeah.
Graves and corn
And
dogs.
Yeah, that's a good rule. You know, like, I would think pretty soon you wouldn't see anybody chewing tobacco because they're not chewing them either.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Right. Corky Miller, he's planning on staying.
Yeah.
He should be catching every day.
I got a question for you. How many players do watch TV before the game? Is there another room for
And there's the wonderful showers.
I don't think that's all.
Oh, sorry.
It's just nothing but a TV room, you know.
pool table or Jersey's right there.
They like the training
It's the same thing the batter's box is.
Oh, I see. Just that.
Ken Griffey Jr.
You don't have any bats.
There's the bus truck.
How we doing? What do you say? How you doing there? Fine.
Long cast throws is the best. You saw long cast throws. What did you? This is a long cast throws.
No ball.
Everybody go. Thank you.
Oh, Emily, stop. Emily, stop. You've been bugging me for a drink for like a half an hour.
That's why this is the famous conference. I have
Well, the whole time
restrooms, I have
she's
air
been saying-
conditioning, I have water.
There you go. We ever go back to here, or is it all?
We will eventually.
Okay, okay.
We're gonna see, we'll go by Marty and Joe. It's just my pleasure to come down and do it. I just love the Reds.
That's bird's eye view. You're fine, you can just go ahead. No problem.
This is the best part of the tour right now. It's not my presentation so much, it's the fact that you're in air conditioning. I have seats for some of you. I have water fountains, and I have a men's restroom here, and 2 doors down the hallway here, I got a women's restroom. So please, take advantage of the facilities if you need to. No problem whatsoever. You're in the press room right now. This is the press box. I'll tell you who I am, first of all. My name is Paul Kramer. I'm involved with the kickball baseball game. The Reds have been involved with that with us for the last 54 years. This is my 37th year. I think I'm the senior man in the group now. That's one of the sure signs that you're getting older. You start reading off some of these things and say, how many years have been doing this? But it's a great program that the Reds do for us every year. This is my way of volunteering the Rosie Reds. I'm also a member of the Rosie Reds. I help out a little bit here. I've been doing this for about 10 years. I learned a long time ago. The first year I had the dugout. Then I found out this room was up here. So guess where I've been the last 9 years? So I'll come down and volunteer as long as the air-conditioned area is available again. I had the dugout. I like to tell the story about the first time I was down, a little girl about 12 years old came through. She sat down in the dugout. And I said, young lady, you can't sit there. And she looked at me and said, why? I said, that's where Barry Larkin sits. And the little girl got so excited, I was going to have a heart attack right there on the spot. So it's just amazing they can do things like that. And a few years later, a few years back, rather, they tried to trade Barry Larkin. I talked about trading, and the Empire called me for a quote. And I gave him the story, the same story, but I printed that story. So I take responsibility for Barry Larkin still being here. And also the fact, I'll take responsibility sitting 230 this year too. So I got to take it all, both the good and the bad. We're going to talk a little bit today about Cinergy Field, Riverfront Stadium. We're going to talk about the Great American Ballpark. It is a ballpark. I've been corrected so many times on that. Every time I go to a function and John Allen is sitting next to me, and I'll say, tell me about the new stadium. I get talking about the new stadium. John tugs at my shirt and says, it's not a stadium, it's a ballpark. We're out of the stadium business. It's called a ballpark now. It's not even a ball field, it's a ballpark. So I'm about 97% brainwashed, but every once in a while it still slips out. So we'll try to talk about the new ballpark here. We'll talk a little bit about the Cinergy Field first. All of you know, probably all of you know, it was built in the late 60s. It opened up in June 30th, 1970. The first game was here that day. In fact, my wife and I, we just moved 4 weeks ago today, a new house. I found a bat, excuse me, that I had made a presentation to. The first opening day ever at Riverfront Stadium, April 1971. I thought, guys, this is probably worth something. I got to hang on to this thing. It was just sitting there in the closet all this while. I'm going to need to get the little brass thing shine up and back. I'll be able to sell it to somebody one of these days. I'll probably keep it the rest of my life when I say that. But originally, I just got this information this morning. Some of the names. Well, first of all, Cinergy Field was built. Riverfront Stadium was built for a total cost of $52 million. Anybody want to guess what the new ballpark's going to cost? I'm hearing figures. I'm not hearing. 300 million. I'm not an economist. I know what that balances out the last 32 years or not. But believe me, the ballpark is going to come in right around 300 million because the Reds are in space for that. Some of the original names for the new ballpark. I like it. The city named after Taylor, or Eisenhower, or Governor Rose, or Hal Crosby, or Fred Hutchinson, or Neil Armstrong. Other proposed names included Regal Stadium, Queen City Stadium, Riverbank, Buckeye Bowl. And I love this one. This one really gets to me. The Reds Bengal Stadium. Now Regal Bowl, Regal Stadium rather. Somebody told me earlier, I haven't been telling this story at all, but I'm telling the last 4 or 5 quarters. I figured Regal, when I saw it, Regal means royal. This thing is built like a crown. That's where it came from. The guy came up to me, I didn't tell that story yet at all. I said, well, name that please. You know where Regal came from? And I said, I have no idea. So he said, it came Reds, R-E-G-A-L for the Bengals. That's why it's called Regal Stadium. He told me that came in number 2. I don't remember, to be truthful with you. It's a good story. And if you don't like the stories, the guy's got 6 tours ahead of us. So you catch up with him telling us, he told me a lie. I think it's these stories to tell. The new stadium, the new ballpark rather, it's going to have a lot of changes in it. You're going to see a lot of changes. You guys came up on an elevator. There's only 2 elevators in Riverfront Stadium. That one is just raw. That's not even for the general public. That's for people to come up here, to come here to the press box and to sit here. Also sit in these suites here. There's one out there right here that goes out of the garage. But that's all they got is those 2 elevators. There's going to be 14 new elevators in the new ballpark. So it's not trying to do things like that. All right, well, let's talk a little about. We're going to be 5 elevators also. Talk a little bit where you are right now. You're in the press box. This is where the press is. I'm sorry. Nobody's asked questions all day. I'm sorry.
Hey, Joe and Marty. Back in the little cubby hole.
You know what? I don't know. He explained that. I wasn't paying any attention to him. I
Just an extra.
Somebody sits down there. Who sits?
Is that the PA announcer?
That's probably it.
Or
I
the
don't know.
statistician?
Well, whoever sits next to Joe and what you call it. Want me to go down and find out? Want me to ask things?
No, it's okay. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. Again, I apologize. I appreciate
Yeah,
this.
that's okay.
I'm just running very, very late to pick up dogs. So.
Oh, I wonder if the best way is to get out of the elevator here and go out on the field and up and around, or this way.
I don't know what's the best way. I do appreciate. I'm gonna have to make a run for my car. I have to fill up.
Just be real quiet because he's speaking.
Sure.
Just follow me.
Is this Glenn Sample?
The Shadow Nose,
Take that.
and the Lone Ranger, and Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy. I mean, all big good shows, and then the Reds. And I was listening to
Let's take him get to his car.
do things with Wade and his wife. Like, oh boy. Then the other guy that did the television was the name.
Okay, and you're going to that exit and turn right, and then there's a ramp, and I think then you'll know how to go.
Okay, just turn right.
Yeah.
Are we on the yellow level, basically?
Yeah, because when you go down, because when you go down, you'll be green.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Party. I don't know what the hell I am here. Very cool, very cool. There we go. That's our tour.